Hello champs, today we will have a look at the Android versions to date. First version of Android was released in the year 2008 with its version number 1.0. It supported XHTML, HTML, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth support, Google Map, Google Calendar, wallpaper, YouTube video player, alarm clock, voice dialer allows dialing and placing of phone calls without typing a name or number, camera support, web browser, and so on. The API level of this is 1. API is nothing but an application programming interface, and it determines how our interface can interact with the software applications and OS. Android 1.0 was the first operating system. Android version 1.1 was released in the year 2009 and had some features like saving attachments in messages, details, and reviews available when a user searches for businesses on maps and resolve bugs. Initially it is said that this was named Petty 4, an appetizer. But it was not official though. Next, Android version 1.5 was released in April 2009. This version was named after a dessert named Cupcake. The features in this version include auto-rotation option, copy-paste features, upload a video on YouTube, check phone usage history, use pictures for specific contacts, third-party virtual keyboard access. Nextly, Android version 1.6 was released with the name Donut in September month. The features included speed improvement, select multiple photos for the deletion, gesture builder development tool, bookmark history and so on. The next version, Android 2.0, was released in October and was named as Eclair. The features included Bluetooth 2.1, Microsoft Exchange email support, new camera features, flash support, improved Google Maps 3.1.2, expanded account sync, live wallpapers, optimize hardware speed, and Android optimized Eclair 2.0.1 and 2.1 was released in December 2009 and January 2010. The features include minor API changes and bug fixing. Android 2.2 Froyo was released in the month of May. The features include USB tethering and Wi-Fi hotspot, optimization of speed, memory and performance, Adobe Flash, install applications to expandable memory, zoom pictures using zoom gestures, easy switching between multiple keyboard languages, application launcher and shortcuts to phone and browser applications and so on. Android 2.2.1, 2.2.2, 2.2.3 were released consecutively with some security updates and bug fixes. Android 2.3 Gingerbread was released in December 2010 with features like switched from YAFFS to ext4, near-field communication, enhancing updates for game developers, gyroscopes and barometers, download manager, WebM, VP8 video playback, and AAC audio encoding and so on. Android 2.3.1 and 2.3.2 improved the bug fixes for the Nexus S. The Android version 2.3.3, 2.3.4, 2.3.5, 2.3.6 and 2.3.7 was released in 2011. The features includes API fixes, Gmail application, animation features, improved battery efficiency, Google Wallet support, Google Talk and fixed some bugs. Android 3.0 Honeycomb was released in February with features like encrypt all user data, file system in user space, support for multi-core processors, making typing fast, new holographic user interface. Then Android 3.1 came with features like FLAC audio playback, UI refinements, joysticks and gamepads. Android 3.2, 3.2.2, 3.2.3, 3.2.4, 3.2.5 and 3.2.6 had features like Google Books, optimization for tables, pay-as-you-go for 3G and 4G tablets. Android version 4.0 was named as Ice Cream Sandwich and was released in October 2011. The features included pinch to zoom, better voice integration, separation of widgets in a new tab, face unlock, easier to create folders, and so on. 4.0.1, 4.0.2, 4.0.3, and 4.0.4 were introduced gradually and had some features like better camera performance, smooth screen rotations, easy phone number recognition. Android 4.0 Jelly Bean came on July 2012 with some features like multi-channel audio, USB audio, turn off notifications on an application-specific basis, smoother user interface, etc. Version 4.1.1 and 4.1.2 included the lock screen rotation and improved performance. Version 4.2, 4.2.1, 4.2.2 have features like Bluetooth stack, SMS confirmation, notification power controls, group messaging, easy toggles management, etc. Nextly, Android 4.3, 4.3.1 had features like 4K resolution, digital rights management, Bluetooth audio, video remote control profile. October 2013 was released Android 4.4 KitKat. This has features like native infrared blaster API, Bluetooth message access profile, audio monitoring and loudness enhancer, enforcing Linux, and so on. 4.4.1, 4.4.2, 4.4.3, 4.4.4 has features like dialer apps interface, miscellaneous improvements, camera application loads Google Plus Photos, and security enhancements. Wearable extensions like 4.4W, 4.4W.1 and 4.4W.2 was also released and had features like GPS support and Google Map navigations. November 2014 was released the Android 5.0 Lollipop. This came with the features like Smart Lock features, support for 64-bit CPUs, Project Volta for battery, material design, improved accessibility support. Gradually 5.0.1 and 5.0.2 was released with bug fixes and password security. Version 5.1 and 5.1.1 had native Wi-Fi calling support, multiple SIM card support and enhanced voice call performance. October 2015 was released Android 6.0 Marshmallow. This had features like USB-C support, Do Not Disturb mode, MIDI support, application search bar, automatic data backups, and version 6.0.1 had features like USB connections, different ways to access camera. August 2016 was released Android 7.0 Nougat. This had features like quick setting options, display color calibration, picture-in-picture support for TV, Daydream virtual reality platform, and so on. Version 7.1, 7.1.1 and 7.1.2 had features like touchscreen and display feature enhancements, customize emoji, restart option added to power button, fingerprint gestures to open or close notifications, battery usage alerts, etc. December 2017 was released the 8.0 Oreo version with features like automatic light and dark themes, safe browsing actions, shared memory API, etc. August 2018 was released 9.0 Pi with features like lock screen security changes, battery percentage now shown in always-on display, screenshot button has been added, enhanced tap switching between apps, etc. September 2019 was released Android 10.0, API 29. This had features like support for biometric authentication in apps, sharing shortcuts, a V1 video codec, etc. September 2020 was released Android 11, API 30, with features including OTP, notification history, screen recorder, play music from other device connected via phone, connect the device from a single point. Finally, Android 12 will the 12th major release and its beta version has been released yet. This has features like a VIF image support, easy Wi-Fi sharing, and Android runtime.
As Google continues to overhaul Android's visuals, we're seeing yet more aesthetic changes in the latest Android 12 preview. The outline for the pattern lock on the lock screen has been changed up and is now thicker with the blue accent color, which is in line with the slightly chunkier visual style we've seen in leaked Android 12 concept images. One visual change we're not all that crazy about though is that dark mode seems to be getting lighter with every update, and particularly in areas like the Settings app, what was once a perfect AMOLED black is now a fairly light shade of grey. Battery concerns aside, this just seems like a step backwards aesthetically. Meanwhile, back on the home screen, the widgets list has been revamped as well, now with a much cleaner vertically scrolling list view. You can only view the widgets from one app at a time with this new list view, but I do think this helps to keep the selector a bit less cluttered. Picture-in-picture mode is one of my favorite additions in recent versions of Android. With the second Android 12 developer preview, picture-in-picture windows are much more flexible. The transition from a video app like YouTube to picture-in-picture mode is a bit smoother now, and picture-in-picture windows can be expanded to fill the entire width of the screen, either by dragging a corner of the window or pinching into zoom.
The Android 13 full release in all of its glory.
This is a quick, brief introduction, and hopefully by the end of it, you should have a good understanding of how to use Android, at least Android 13. Now in this specific case, we want to start off with the lock screen. Now with Android 12, Android 13, not much has changed with the lock screen yet, but we are in the second beta for the most part. So Android 13 could be coming out officially in the next few months. So this is essentially what the lock screen will always look like. We will have the time right there if we have no notifications, but you can always see the time right there if you click up there. And this is a beautiful lock screen. I love this lock screen a lot. If you have notifications like we have here, you'll always be able to see the notifications right there for the most part. So as you can see, the application was being updated, so you'll also be able to see that. You can also swipe to the side most of the time and you can configure different side panels. So you can go ahead and get the camera here or other things like that. And that's typically what I do. In this case, we just have it turned off for the most part. Now getting to your home screen is very easy. You swipe up and then you can come straight into your home screen here. Now I do think most people probably know how to navigate the whole entire ecosystem, but for the most part, you swipe between the displays like so. You can always swipe to the left side to get into your little Google feed. You can also swipe back here, and this is your home screen. To get into your applications, you swipe up from the bottom, and you'll basically be able to see a massive list of all the applications that are on your phone. This doesn't necessarily mean that every application you have will be visible here. Sometimes you can have folders and everything, but a majority of the apps you can see here, and you'll also be able to see them right there if you go ahead and search for them. You can also swipe down from the top and you'll be able to get into your actual notification bar as well as quick toggles up top. So here you'll basically be able to see a massive list of all the notifications you have. If people are texting you or if you have notifications like, downloading apps or whatever, those will happen in the background too and they'll show up right here. But you'll also see some quick toggles up here that you can quickly toggle. So your Wi-Fi connections, Bluetooth connections, all these other things, you'll basically be able to modify them there. But you can swipe down once more and you'll basically come into this panel, which will also showcase a little bit better of all the different toggles you can go and modify. So up at the very top, we have our time. Right here, we have our time and date again right here. You have your specific emergency calls or anything like that. You have your brightness toggle, which you can go ahead and increase or decrease the brightness if you want to. Right here, you have all your quick toggles. So like I mentioned before, your internet, Bluetooth, flashlight toggle, auto rotate screen. Swapping to the side, we have night light. You can always click the edit button right here to add even more toggles. And if there are ever any other toggles added with Android 13 in the future, you'll basically be able to find them right here.
Hello everyone and welcome to the channel, and today Google released Android 14 Beta 5.2 and I have it installed on my Pixel 7 Pro. This is just a minor update, but I found some small tweaks that I'm gonna share with you today. So without further ado, let's jump in. So let's start with the build number, and here I have UPB5.230.623.006. The first change is under the home screen settings, and then search your phone, and now you'll find one extra toggle called Google Play Store Suggestions. And previously this feature was working automatically, but now you have the ability to turn it off if you want. And I also found the results to be more consistent. Previously, sometimes it shows the results, sometimes it doesn't, but now every time I search for an app, I always see the suggestions coming from Google Play Store, so it's a bit more consistent than before. Change number 2 is the cinematic wallpaper is finally available on Android 14 after installing this build. So here I have it on my Pixel 7 Pro. When I choose one of the photos from my gallery, now I have the cinematic wallpaper switch. Change number 3 is in the sound and vibration card. In the previous betas, it used to slide to the side when you dismiss it, but now it slides to the bottom, same as the stable version, which is better. So these are the minor tweaks I found in this build. Now let's talk about the bugs I still have on my Pixel 7 Pro, which might help Google fix them in future software updates. And the first one is related to the clipboard pop-up. When I copy text while having the keyboard showing, the pop-up doesn't appear on top of the keyboard like before, but it only shows up when I minimize the keyboard and hit copy. Now I see it here at the bottom left corner, so it seems like the keyboard is hiding the pop-up for some reason. The second issue is when I try to edit the clock widget and then go back to the home screen, you will notice here this weird animation and the wallpaper disappears for a few seconds and then comes back. Number 3 is when you tap on the nearby share tile, you get this black screen first and then the card shows up from the bottom, which is kinda slow and looks weird as well. Number 4 is the widgets picker has this kind of weird gaps between the text and the widget. You see it right here and here as well. And for reference, here is the stable version. As you see, the space between the text and the widget is much less. Issue number 5 is one of the clock styles under the wallpaper and the style app is currently missing. Previously, we used to have 9 different styles, but now they are only 8. Another bug under the Wallpaper and the Style app, when you go to the stock wallpapers and download any of them, like this, and then go back to the previous page, you will see that the wallpaper is still under the undownloaded section, but you have to quit this page and go inside one more time to see it at the top. And finally, when you tap on the call chip at the top, you will get this laggy animation. As you see here, when I tap on it, it doesn't work as smooth as before. Now let's talk about the performance and battery life. Starting with the performance, I think the app launching speed is noticeably better than before. Even though I don't have any apps running in the background, when I open apps, it loads immediately. You will see here that everything loads as if it's already in the background. So that seems to be better with this build. But when it comes to battery life, I think it's pretty much the same. So here I have screen on time 4 hours and 20 minutes, and I have 27% battery remaining, and I used only Wi-Fi. So it's pretty much the same as before, no improvement, but certainly the app launching speed is much better.
Android 15 is getting a very vanilla codename. Have you tried out Android 14 yet? Odds are probably not, as Google only released its first developer preview a month ago, and we've still got a ways to go before it's time for the beta. But even with so many of us still waiting to get our first taste of Android 14 upside-down cake, development efforts are already looking far past it, out towards the future. Android the 15th of May still be a solid year out, but we've just learned what V-word dessert codename devs are using for it as they get to work. As anyone with even a passing interest in Android history knows, major platform releases have long been associated with development codenames playfully assigned after popular desserts. From the early days of Cupcake and Donut, we saw Android mature with Gingerbread and Jelly Bean, and even go commercial with Kit Kat and Oreo. But in recent years, Google has seriously downplayed the use of these names, and they've largely been relegated back to their initial dev-only status. Still, none of that leave us any less curious about what the next name's going to be, and today, Mashal Rahman shares our first clear evidence of the Android 15 volts name: Vanilla Ice Cream. The string pops up in some AOSP commits, but frankly, what other V-dessert was this possibly going to be? Vienna Fingers? Volcano Cakes? Vanilla something or other was definitely the safe bet, although we will concede that we're slightly surprised to see a return to ice cream here, echoing the name of Android 4 ice cream sandwich. Not to mention the spiritual connection to Froyo. Of course, it did not take any time at all for the vanilla Android, as in, plain, Android, jokes to start pouring in. Our Slack log confirms a mere 21 seconds, actually. By the time Android 15 matures, and we finally start seeing other companies develop their own skins built on it, you can bet that this punny trend is only going to increase.